When it comes to unusual option activity, he is the expert. He is the co-founder of MarketRebellion.com. He's also one of your favorites and my favorite CNBC personalities. Welcome to the show, Jon Najarian. Jon, good to see you and interview you here.
Daniela, it's my pleasure. I'm looking forward to it. And it looks like it's a little windy where you are, judging by the trees behind you.
Right now, Montreal, still Montreal, before I head back to the US, Jon. But happy to speak with you today because obviously volatile times we are living in here, and want to get your thoughts on the comments made by Fed Chair Powell earlier this week. Pretty concerning here, saying that we could be headed to economic tragedy if the US can't get the COVID-19 situation on track here.
Well, and I think while he was saying that too, certainly you're right, Daniela. What I was taking away from it was also that we really need Congress to do something. In other words, I think the Fed has done about as much as they can do. They'll keep trying to do things, but we really need something out of the Congress, similar to the CARES Act, and whether or not they can get that done before the election, I hope they can. We've heard virtually every member of the Fed say that we need that. I think we do. I looked at an article just today, Daniela, that said in May, 100,000 businesses in the United States had closed permanently in May. And that was when we had some of the payroll protection as well as the enhanced unemployment benefit. We need both of those again. We probably don't need the $1,200 per household sort of checks, up to a certain level of wage earner, but we definitely need the enhanced unemployment and I think the payroll protection. Otherwise, we're going to see another 100,000 places permanently close their doors, and that'll mean the recovery when it comes will be very tepid, much like it was in 2009.
So a concentrated effort to save small business, Jon?
Yes, exactly. I'm not worried about Apple. I'm not worried about most big companies, but I am worried about all the little ma and pa shops. And just like it's consumers that really lift the economy here in the United States, they're close to 70% of GDP. We need the small businesses because without them, all the people they employ, all the people they service, it'll be a much different America for the next 3 to 5 years if we let 200 or 250,000 businesses die just because we're playing politics.
And Jon, in his message to Congress, if we read between the lines there, is he basically seeing we're an environment of QE infinity?
Yeah, I think he is. And yes, we're going to keep rates low for a long time. Although, as we've seen over the past week, even when the Fed is keeping rates at or near zero, the 10% or the 10-year bond rather has made a pretty dramatic move. And the TLT, which is an ETF that tracks bond movement, has dropped rather dramatically after not having moved at all. But we just saw a drop from, I think, about 164 to 158 in the last little bit for that TLT. And we see a lot of speculation from big institutions that it'll go lower than that. It might even plumb down to about 150.
So, Jon, how are you positioning yourself here ahead of the election in terms of sectors you're liking right now? And how will that change given the outcome of the election?
I think either way, these picks will do well. I think the infrastructure picks. So in other words, Goldfield, GV, Cemex, CX, those are two examples of some of the stocks that we're really looking at hard right now as far as, providing cement for roads, Cemex, as well as building, of course, and GV, which is an infrastructure play all over the board. Goldfields. It's not a gold miner,
right?
But that's the name. Nonetheless, that would be either President Trump or President Biden. If it is President Biden, I think you could concentrate even more so on green energy. In other words, I don't know that Elon Musk needs the boost. Tesla will still do fine, but SunPower, SPWR, probably a number of non-fracking plays. In other words, I might even be long solar and short fracking because I would anticipate that even though he hasn't said that he's going to shut fracking down, he's already said no new permits for frackers. And so I understand why he hasn't come out hard against it, because if he does, he loses Ohio and Texas and Pennsylvania votes. Maybe he doesn't lose those states, Daniela, but obviously those are significant states that are involved in fracking. I don't think either candidate can afford to lose those. So not surprisingly, neither one wants to come out against fracking.
What do you do with a stock like Apple here, John? They're announcing they may release a new iPhone anytime now.
Right. And we're thinking, both of us, I think, next week. They've just made the announcement October 13th, sorry. And I think a 5G iPhone's a big deal. It's not just because it's a little bit faster, because it is only really a little bit faster. For most of us, we wouldn't notice very much how much faster it is, but for applications like GPS, it'll be much better. For applications like self-driving cars, Daniela, it'll be absolutely necessary. So I think Apple's going to do just fine, but I don't think that this is one you want to step out of. In other words, as much as I say infrastructure and some value stocks if Biden wins, I think either way, just like those infrastructure plays, Apple wins, because we're all Apple junkies, and those of us that can afford it will buy that new iPhone as soon as it comes out.
John, finally, how about the safe haven plays? What could we expect from metals like gold?
I think as long as the Fed is as active as they're likely to be for the next 3 to 5 years, gold probably gets into the 2,200 to the ounce range, not right away, but over the next year. I would look for about a 10% appreciation or a little bit more. As far as silver and platinum, I think they do well also. Bitcoin and related coins that are of limited supply rather than unlimited supply coins, I think those will do very well as well, because I think Europe and the United States are likely to keep the pedal to the metal as far as keep rates below zero or near zero in one of those two cases.
Jon Najarian, I appreciate your comments and thoughts today. Finally, I know you've been involved in many things. What are you up to these days? What are you really focusing on?
I actually am involved with a couple of cryptocurrency boards. I'm involved in a couple companies that do digital printing, where I'm on the board of Black Buffalo. It's a privately held company based in Korea that does large scale printing of, when we say like this kind of printing houses. Imagine that, like these guys, their machines are mostly as big as a small house.
So you're telling me you can make me a two-door garage and
print it? Yep. Wow. Just print it out. I mean, the things that these guys did, Apple used, of course, this technology to make a lot of the prototypes that they were making years and years ago. That's great. And now it's moved all the way into construction. And so that's an area I'm focused on as well, because you can make things really fast and do it right there on site. So the transportation is not the issue, and it's not the issue with Home Depot or anything else. It's really wild stuff.
Fascinating. Wild indeed. Jon Najarian, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Daniela.
And thank you for watching. We'll have much more for you on Stansberry Research. You can follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. We are all there. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I'm Daniela Cambone.